Welcome back, everybody. Flash Jones here, barreling down the rails, right back at you. And in this video, got another installment on the build series. And specifically in this video, we're taking a look at how to build the Walthers CornerStone 109-foot single track Pratt deck truss bridge. Okay, so with all that being said, go ahead and get yourself a nice cold beverage. Go ahead and get yourself a nice little snack. Let's enjoy the show. Okay, here we go. All right, good people. So if you've seen the last two installments of the build series, you would have known that we built both two 70-foot through deck girder bridges and two 90-foot through deck girder bridges, right? So if you've seen those videos, you know exactly what I'm about to say. Before we can do anything, obviously you're gonna need your kit. That is the Walthers CornerStone 109-foot single track Pratt deck truss bridge, right? Also, you're gonna need yourself some sandpaper. I used a fine sandpaper. I believe it was 220 grit. Also, you're gonna need yourself some snips, right? I'm using the Zuron Track snips that is used for cutting your railroad track. You don't need a super fancy pair of snips. The Zuron Track snips work just fine here, okay? Also, you're gonna need a glue for gluing plastics, just in case. Ensure that you use a glue that will give you some play time. That way, when you go ahead and apply your glue, it does not set up on you. It gives you some time to make adjustments. Also, you're gonna want yourself a nice sharp hobby knife. I am using the Exacto blade, the gold edge. Don't have to have the gold edge, but a nice sharp hobby knife will suit you best here. And finally, you're also gonna want to have a set of tweezers. They're not absolutely necessary, but they absolutely come in handy, and I'll show you guys that later on in the video. All right, people, once you have everything out of the box, fully inspected, it's time to start getting things cut off. We're in step one, and we're getting the two side truss assemblies cut from the sprues, and we need to get them sanded. As you guys just saw, those little nubs, the flash that was still connected to the side truss, you got to get that sanded down and get that cut off, because there are certain pieces that are going to attach here in a few moments. They will absolutely be affected if you do not sand down those little nubs. Notice here you have one of the side frames, right? This piece that you're seeing right now, this is the male side, and the piece that I showed you just a second ago is the female side. Both the male and the female go together to make one side. You have 4 of these pieces total, 2 male and 2 female. Be sure that when you do go ahead and attach the male and the female together, as you see me getting ready to do right here, that each piece is in line with one another. You do not want this to be lined up to look like an X, even though I think it looked a lot better with the X in the middle. You actually want this to be in line with one another. Man, now don't that look sweet with the X's? I wish this thing would actually fit with the X's, but as I'm kind of skimming through to show you here, those are some of the interior lateral pieces. I forget exactly lacing pieces. They wouldn't fit right, and your bridge would be real janky because you decided to go with the X instead of going with how they designed the bridge. That's why you can't do it that way. So right through here, I am adding some additional glue to some points that may cause failure down the line. I doubt it will, but me, I'm a little paranoid. As you guys can see, it's just a little bit of the gap where those pins were, but it's the outside that didn't get any glue. And I just wanted to add a little glue there just for a little extra stability and peace of mind for me. All right, so this piece here is a gusset plate. This is parts 6 and 7. They're 2 identical pieces. They go along the bottom side of the truss assembly. And these pieces have little bumps, if you will, I'm going to call them, that attach at the extreme ends of the bridge. These ends are where the shoes attach to. So you have to attach these gusset plates, parts 6 and 7, in the correct locations. That way your bridge shoes will attach at the end. If you fluff up this part, your bridge shoes will literally be in the middle of your bridge. All right, so I went over and picked up one of the other single track Pratt deck truss bridges that I've already fully completed, and I wanted to bring it over to show you guys something that I think is important to notice. So on the side assembly that we're currently building, do you notice how those little bottom plates are protruding past the side assembly? You notice how those grooves are also there that I'm pointing to right now? Though the plates, those gusset plates that we just glued on, they need to align properly up with those grooves, because the center pieces that are kind of vertical in the orientation that I'm holding this current bridge in, they slide in on those grooves, and then they also attach to that to the X bracing at the end of the build. So everything on the bridge, everything works together. It's really a very smart way that the engineering department put these bridges, or at least this bridge, together, because everything works together and everything kind of relies on one another, other parts on the bridge, to complete the full assembly, if you will, right? So notice here, I just showed you the shoes. That is that little bump that needs to be at the extreme ends of the bridge, so that way that your shoes align at the ends of the bridge. Each gusset plate has one, and each gusset plate lines up in the middle, where, like at the top of the screen, you saw there how the bridge had 3 piers, if you will, or 3 girders that kind of came together in the center. Each gusset plate aligns to meet up right there in the center, so that the X bracing and that the center supports have a mounting place. So this, again, this is a crucial point where you want to stop, take your time, and do it right. Okay?
Feel the vibration. Hey, hey, hey. What you got to say? What you got to say?
All right, people, got to break it down for a hot quick sec. Okay, reason being is because it's time for us to begin to lay the interior lacing. You got 3 different size lacings. You have 3 different part numbers: 10, 11, and 12. 10 is the large size lacing, 11 is the medium size lacing, and then obviously it leaves 12, which is the small size lacing. Okay, these 3 different size lacings, people, can only go where they're assigned to go. I will show you guys that here in a moment, but you can't put 10 where 11 is supposed to go. You can't put 12 where 10 is supposed to go. And you can't put 11 where 10 is supposed to go. They all have to go to their assigned seating. That's right, everybody. Just like when we were little kids back in elementary school, we all had assigned seating. You had to sit where you were told to sit. It's no different here. All these pieces have to go where they're supposed to and where they're assigned to go. Okay, so notice here, I forget exactly which size this is. I'm going to guess this is the small. That might be part 12. But notice how it doesn't fit where part 10 goes. So lacing size 10 goes there, but it doesn't fit there, right? It only fits in that lower edge. I believe that's actually part 11. Yes, that is part 11. Only part 11 can fit in that lower corner, if you will. But obviously, as you see, it doesn't fit there, and it doesn't fit up top either. So, as I was saying, again, assigned seating. just like elementary school. You can only put these lacing pieces where they're destined to go. All right, so yeah, a bit tedious to get roughly, I don't know, 15 or so of these lacing pieces all laid in on top, bottom, left, and right. But this is what it looks like when it's all put in. So take your time on that, people. Do not get frustrated because you can snap these. I think I did snap one of these in half, trying to get it into place. Not that it was hard. It's just that I was being impatient. So take your time. If you got to walk away, walk away. Next, you got to do the same thing on the other side.
Feel the vibration. Hey, hey, hey. What you got to say? What you got to say?
All right, people. So, as you see, we're going into step 5, which is this 8x7 interior X bracing or cross member bracing, right? So you got to get this these pieces glued in because this is what, you know, kind of bridges the gap between the two side truss assemblies, right? This is kind of one of those points where you also want to stop, take your time, and do it right? So the reason being is because, one, by putting these pieces in, this part number is 8x7, and it's 8x7 because the part number is 8 and the number of pieces you need is by 7, but you actually get 8 of them. So in case you do fluff up somewhere, you do get 8 of them. So you know, be careful, but just know you do have an extra little piece in case you made a boo-boo. Either way, you want to be careful here because you want to make sure that these pieces are completely perpendicular at 90 degrees to the side truss assembly. Why? Because as you can see, what I'm doing now is that the other side truss assembly has to go on the other side, and you want it to be completely straight, and you want it to be each piece to be parallel, each side assembly to be parallel to one another. All right, folks, as you see, step 6, right? So this part right here, this part is a little bit annoying, right? And I say that respectfully, right? Because you have to obviously cut and sand down parts 13 and parts 14. But this part right here, actually trying to affix the X bracing, the lower end X bracing, or should I say the horizontal X bracing. It's a little finicky. As you just saw, one of the pieces fell through the little slot in part 14, I want to say. That can happen. And the instructions kind of say it may be easy to use tweezers. Again, this is the fourth 109 foot Pratt truss bridge that I've done. And for me, as you guys saw, I just popped that sucker in there just now. It does seem a bit easier than trying to use tweezers. As you see me trying to finagle these freaking X bracings down on in here, it's a little awkward. Obviously, I am also trying to do this on camera for you guys, so it's not I don't have the best vantage point trying to hover above a camera, make sure it's in focus all the while making sure that I get the pieces exactly down on where they need to go. Again, it's not hard to do. It just takes a good amount of patience and not being afraid to kind of manhandle it just a little bit. Can you snap these? Yes, I've done 4 of these bridges, like I said. I have not snapped any of these pieces specifically. But when you are trying to bring it down into this little cavity, you may have to kind of pull on it, maybe need to bend it a little bit to get it to kind of conform, to kind of slide down. Because if you can see down in there, there's a little plate. Remember those gusset plates that we were talking about in the beginning of the video? Those gusset plates help to allow the X bracing, the horizontal X bracing, to affix to the bridge. This is why, again, as I said before, you needed to stop, take your time, do it right, because everything that you do in a lot of these kits affects something else down the line. And this would absolutely be one of those integral parts. All right, good people. So moving forward, we're going to go into part 7. Part 7 is according to the instruction manual that I got and that you guys can see here in the PDF. You have to put down these loading beams, right? Now, these loading beams on the instruction sheet that I got is part number 18. We'll kind of circle back to that, right? But you got to put the loading beams down, because if you're going to use the open deck that comes with the kit that you can see here, if you're going to use this open deck, you have to put the loading beams down. I believe you're supposed to put them down also if you're using their bridge track. I don't remember, but at least I know for sure if you're going to go the route of using their open deck, you got to use those loading beams. Now, why am I putting a little bit of emphasis on this is because, as you guys can see here, part 18 is both the loading beams and also a set of handrails. Now, remember earlier, if you've seen my 70-foot video, I talked about having to call and talk to Keith about it. This was the situation where I actually called Walthers to get a hold of somebody. Keith ended up calling me back. I told him about this. He goes, yep, part 15 on the sprue is actually part 18 on the manual. But they did make an edit to the PDF version so that the manual reflected that part 15 is part 15 on both on the sprue and the manual, as you guys can see here from the updated PDF. All right, guys, and there you have it. This is the fully assembled and fully painted Walthers CornerStone 109 foot single track Pratt deck truss bridge. All that's left for me to do with this bridge here, or should I say with these 4 bridges, because this bridge is number 8 out of 11 bridges that I've had to build. As you guys can see there, the bridge track, it comes with bridge track. All you have to do is lay your rail down and glue it down. So all I have left to do is get some rail, lay it down, glue it down, and get it installed on the layout. Now, you also might be wondering if I'm going to paint these 4 bridges a different color. Answer to that is no. I actually really like the way that this color comes off. There's a bridge out that BN goes across, and it looks very similar to this as far as color. So I think I'm going to stick with this color. And of course, guys, I definitely appreciate you guys stopping by to watch the video. You've already made it this far, so go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Also, don't forget to drop a comment, share your thoughts and opinions with me, and let's spread the love of model railroading to everybody so that they can get a taste of course, what we know to be the world's greatest hobby. Also, if you guys want some insight on some sneak peeks and some extra knickknacks, feel free to follow me at FlashJonesTrains there on the old Instagram. And until next time, everybody, be blessed, stay safe, and of course, keep it on the rails. All right, I'm out. Peace. Mission accomplished.
Feel the vibration, hey.